Right, so follow, like, and subscribe. And today we are going to get into our daily coding challenge. And this challenge is about, if I can get this working, the map function. So the map function, this function over here, and basically the question is this, is we have this function which is a function called add1, and all we do is take this variable here, which is an integer by the looks of it, so we will do that in our type hinting, and we take this variable, this parameter or this argument, and we add 1 to it, and that's what we return back. And then we have this map function. Then we have a dictionary. The next part is we actually have a dictionary, and the dictionary contains 3 key value pairs. There's the first key value pair, which is A equals 1, and then B equals 2, and then finally C equals 3. And then we have this built-in map function in Python, and that lives in the global namespace. And what it does is it runs this add1 function here. So this particular function, which is this add1 function, so it runs this in the map function on d.values, which is all of the, so d is this dictionary, and d.values are the actual values. So that will be the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3. And in theory, it should add numbers to them, and it should actually do this add1 method, which is adding 1. So it looks like we should get a 2, a 3, and a 4, because 1 add 1 is 2, 2 add 2 is 3, and 3 add 1 is 4. So that's what it looks like it should give. Now, the options here are, is it going to give a list looking like object with the square brackets, or a tuple like this with the curly brackets? I'm gunning for, I think, but we'll discover, that map. Well, in fact, I believe that whatever we got back, we're converting it into a list, and we're going to see this because I think if we just print out result, that we're going to get a space in memory address, and we want to convert that into a list. So I'm gunning for, it's going to be one of these two by the looks of it. It won't be the 1, 2, 3, and it won't be this one, and I believe that it's going to be that. But let's go and explore and see for ourselves if that's actually what really happens. So the first thing we'll do, we've got a piece of code over here, and let's just run everything. Right, so nice and clear. Let's just do a def, and we'll define a function, and we'll call our function the same as the function up there. So add _ 1, like that, and then we will put an X in. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to zoom in a bit on the code now. So this part at the top here is all going to become very large. So, but then you'll be able to see the codes down below. And so we've got this add1, and what we're going to do is take this variable or this parameter, this argument in here, and it's going to be of type integer. We don't have to type hint it, but that's what it's going to be. And anyway, we're going to return back an x plus 1. But one of the nice things about doing that is if we hover over the function, it's very clearly defined that we're going to get an integer back, whereas I just wonder if we get an integer back here, if it hints to that. No, what actually happens, and that's correct, because we haven't type hinted, we're going to get an any back, because in theory it's expecting anything to come in here, and if this was a string, it could be a float, for example, and then you could add an integer to a float. So let's just do the type hinting to keep it proper. So x is an integer that comes in, and we're going to return an integer back in our particular case. Now, just moving into the zoomed in function, we're going to create this dictionary here. So let's just do that, but in a slightly different way. There's 2 ways of creating a dictionary. One is using the curly braces and putting in your key value pairs. And the other one is actually using this dict method over here. Both of them achieve the same thing, but this is quite nice and clean. So I'll do A equals 1, B equals 2, and C equals 3. Both achieve the same thing, but this one's quite nice doing it like this. Sometimes it's just not easier to do. So we've got our dictionary. Now we are going to do a result which is equal to the map of our add1 function on the d dot values. So let's just do that. Result equals the map. So this function over here on our add one method over here. That's the method that we created up here, and we can see, well, so if I hover over it here, we would see what our method actually is. But anyway, we're going to do that. We can see what the map function looks like and what it's expecting. It's expecting a function to go in there, and the function that we're putting in is this add one function, and then it's got the iterables, and presumably somewhere below it describes what the iterables are, but the iterables in our particular case is this dictionary here. That's you know, a equals 1, b equals the dictionary values, which is the 1, 2 and the 3 part of it. So let's just get our iterables in there. So it's d, so it's not the key value pairs, but it's actually just the values that we care about. So d dot values, the dictionary values is what we want in there. And finally, we can print our result. Now we don't have to, we can just, because we're using a Jupyter notebook, we can just do result. We don't have to write print result, and that should be sufficient. But when I run this, and this is what I was mentioning before, we get back this map at this thing. So we get back this memory address, like a location in memory address, and that's not really so useful to us. And we see this up here that we actually, this contains like a pointer to the list effectively, like this memory address is where the list is contained, but we actually want to see the list itself. So let's just convert this to list of results. I'm wondering if this on its own will just be sufficient. Yes, it is. And we see straight away that we get the 2, 3 and 4. So that's basically it. That was, so the answer was A, the output was 2, 3 and 4. We learned that the built-in method, or the built-in function, which is map, it operates on a function, a user-defined function that we've created, and it requires an iterable. Now, our iterable didn't have to be d dot values like this, but actually we could have had an L for a list, for example, is equal to 10, 20, and 30. And I'm presuming that this should just work because it's equivalent. So we'll just stick in an L here, and we get an 11, a 21, and a 31. So this just can be any iterable effectively. And that's basically it. That's a map function in Python. If you, and that's our daily coding question. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, still hit the like button. Subscribe, follow, forward on to other people. And thanks for watching the map function.